Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're doing well. 2022 was a great year for films. With that said, there's a lot of movies that I didn't get to see, so I'm doing my best to go back through and watch some of them that I missed. And one of those films was Aftersun. Now, if you haven't watched this yet, seriously, go watch it. This movie ruined me. And I don't mean it was just a sad movie. That wouldn't accurately sum up the emotional impact that this film had on me. See, I started to tear up towards the end of this film, but it wasn't until about 20 minutes later that I had an absolute emotional breakdown. Now, I'm going to try and not go into too many spoilers, but the gist of it is that Aftersun is an empathetic and emotional look into the bond between a father and a daughter as they spend their last time together at a vacation resort in Turkey. This is the directorial debut from Charlotte Wells, and the fact that this is Charlotte's first film has me extremely excited to see the stories that she brings to us in the future. This wasn't exactly what I was expecting going into this. I kind of imagined that it was going to be a feel-good, coming-of-age story that has some heartfelt moments and maybe like a scene where they get to express their love for each other and it just tugs at the heartstrings. But that's not what we got. This was an unapologetically real and emotional film that highlights not only the bond between these two, but the distance between them as well. The idea that as children we see our parents as like these all-knowing and superhero-like beings, when in reality there's a fragile and imperfect side to them. Sometimes we don't see that vulnerability because we don't look for it, and we don't know to look for it. It can be very subtle. The subtlety of the narrative left me feeling a little confused at first. I felt like for the majority, I was just watching these two do normal stuff like sitting by the pool in silence or having a meal. Little moments that don't really lead anywhere, but they build a connection to these two. They show that they're close, but also there's something between them, and something not mentioned, but we feel it. It becomes clear later on that the father is dealing with some sort of depression. But if you know to look for it, there's a number of signs throughout the film. From the start, the movie never feels like it's a happy, feel-good movie. There's hints of sadness to it. Some shots linger for a really long time. They're not afraid to leave the camera on the actor and just let them act. Some of the scenes are filmed only using a reflection, or the character in the frame is slightly cut off. The cinematography is just gorgeous, but it feels melancholic or like a memory of a time in your life that you're nostalgic of. Kind of like sitting in your room alone late at night on a weekend, listening to some music and just thinking about life. Not to say there aren't happy moments, seeing these two interact brings a huge smile to my face. But knowing how it ends also breaks my heart. The scene that resonated with me as a father on the first viewing was when he was telling the daughter that she can talk to him about anything. As she gets older, she can talk to him about boys or parties and the not so good stuff that she gets up to. It's like a promise to always be there for her. Now, when I first saw this scene, I got really choked up, imagining my own daughter as someone who's becoming an adult and wanting us to have this bond where we can talk to each other about anything. And then after the film ended, thinking about that scene again breaks me. A promise not kept. A false sense of hope. A lie. Throughout the film, I had this uneasy feeling that the story doesn't have a happy ending. I was nearly waiting for something bad to happen, as if we were going to get a big emotional scene. The Oscar scene, where the character breaks down and gives a gut-punching performance. But it's way more cryptic than that. Our biggest fear comes in the form of an overpriced rug that makes a reappearance towards the end of the film. If you can pick apart the symbolism of what this rug means, it will answer some of the harder questions that you have. We're not told very much during this film. They trust the viewer to work it out for themselves, which I enjoy. I struggle sometimes to pick up on the deeper meaning of certain things or the symbolism, but I like when I get to think about it and when a second rewatch is rewarding and you get to find things that you weren't looking for in the beginning. After rewatching the film and watching some reviews, it becomes obvious what the narrative is trying to tell you. It becomes clear that the daughter character of Sophie is dealing with the same mental health problems. 20 years after their trip together, Sophie's the same age as her father, and now she has a kid of her own. She's reflecting on the time that she spent with her father, and just as we're picking up the small details, so is she. The visual cues of this film is what makes it masterfully directed. Show, don't tell. I think that this film was an emotional gut punch. I've never had a film hit me in the way that this one did. After reflecting on this movie, I had to just give my 5-year-old the biggest hug and let her know that I'm here for her. I think that if you're a parent, that this film will have a big impact on you, but I think that anybody can connect to this story. It's a very impressive first film, and I'll be sure to follow Charlotte Wells on her journey as a director. I can't wait to see the other films that she creates. Aftersun is another great example as to why A24 is one of the best film production studios there is. They take chances on stories that you wouldn't normally get to see, and they give directors the chance to just create art. I'm continuing to be excited for the projects that A24 is releasing, and I can't wait to see what they bring next. If you enjoyed this short review, be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on more films to come. But that's all I got for now, so I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.